Hey, want to finish with a quick game.
It's to do with this coincidence, isn't
Yeah, I know I've been going out of on about this coincidence, and I haven't told you yet, but I've turned it into a game.
Beat that coincidence.
Okay, now here's the thing. You've told me about an amazing coincidence that's happened to your brother?
Yeah, my brother and his girlfriend Bianca, a coincidence happened 2 days ago. And I think it's a great coincidence. Like, it's amazing.
Which is great and fine, but the thing that fascinates me about this game is then you're like, maybe people can challenge this coincidence.
Yeah, can you beat it? Do you have a better coincidence in your life?
But you're not letting people play for all time.
No. There's been better ones in your life, probably. But
So this is the thing that fascinates me about this. And he hasn't told me this coincidence, but he's like, I reckon I want people to, they can only call in if their coincidence happened like this week.
Originally, I said this week, and I got poo-pooed a little bit.
This is like
booed.
That's just like, you're just trying to set yourself up for the win. Back your coincidence, mate.
I am. So I'm going to enlarge it to a month. It has to be.
So if it happened before essentially the end of the financial year, if it happened before June 30.
Yeah. So you got to listen to my story now, everyone.
So July.
And then if you think your coincidence is better.
You've essentially just summed up FM radio in a nutshell. You have to listen to my story now, everyone, and then you'll have your go.
And then if you think yours is better,
but it has to have happened in July or August.
Yeah, it has to happen in recent. Beat the coincidence. But the coincidence has to have happened in the last month a bit. Because I'm not going to be telling this story in 3 months' time.
We'll give people 3 months then.
Well,
let them have June, July, August.
Okay, I'll give them June, July. August.
I mean, there's only 3 days of August, so.
Okay, my brother and his girlfriend Bianca had a trip to Port Douglas planned, family trip, right? And they came back late Sunday night, and the flight was getting in at 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Right? And in the morning, an electrician was coming to Bianca's house, right?
Right.
So the electrician rocks up at Bianca's house early as electricians are, and he's running a little late. He's bleary-eyed. It was a 8:15 appointment. He gets there at 9.
Right, okay. So he rocked up early in the morning. Gotcha.
Yeah. So he gets there at 9. And Bianca says, "Oh, look, sorry, I've got to run now because I've got to head off to work." But, he's let him in. And he's like, "I'm so sorry, I'm a bit bleary-eyed." He goes, "My flight was delayed last night." And she says, "Oh, yeah, my flight was delayed last night. I ended up getting it at 2:30. He said, "I got in at 2:30. Were you coming from Port Douglas?" "Yes, I was coming from Port Douglas." An electrician she'd never met before.
It's good.
"What seat were you in?" He said, "Row 18. They were row 19.
That's not as good. I mean,
that's pretty good. They were one row apart. How can that not be good?
The flight's the amazing part. It's like 300 people out of a whole city were on that flight. That's amazing.
The delayed flight, and they were sitting a row behind each other. Coincidence?
Yes.
Beat that coincidence.
13/10/60. Beat that coincidence.
It is.
But you've only got 2 months.
It's a pretty good coincidence, but it has to have happened in July or August. We'll take June at a pinch. Those are the rules to guarantee Andy a win.
Hey, we're in the middle of.
Beat that coincidence.
Okay, Andy has outlined a coincidence that happened to his brother and his girlfriend. He acknowledges it's not the world's greatest coincidence. Yep. That's why you have to try and beat the coincidence of the electrician that visited Andy's brother's girlfriend's house being on the same flight from Port Douglas last night as Andy's brother's girlfriend. Your coincidence has to have happened in the past 2 months.
Yes, exactly.
This is a safeguard to protect better coincidences than Andy's brother's girlfriend's one sneaking into the story, hopefully setting the Lee family up for a coincidental win. Have I got that correct?
Spot on. And Emma joins us. Talk us through.
Hello.
What was your coincidence, Em?
So my partner and I have been together for 7 years, and I was recently borrowing my mother's laptop, and I put the password in, and it was a surname. And he goes, "Why did you type that?" And I said, "That's the password." He goes, "Yeah, but what does it mean?" I said, "It's my nana's surname." And he goes, "Shut up. That's my gran's surname."
So both your grandmas have the same surname.
Thank God I did some family history. We are definitely not related, but both of our grands have the same surname.
So let's just say it's Jenkins, and that's like neither of your surnames.
That's exactly right.
That's
a very
massive.
How
Think
long?
of all the surnames out there, Ando.
Emma, how long ago did this happen?
It was probably like a month and a half.
She's in the window.
She's in the window. Although, Emma, I don't want to be a stickler here. You did say a month and a half-ish. You're 100% sure this happened in June or July. That's the rules.
Emma?
Okay, let's say June then.
Oh, June. Was it May?
No, we couldn't have been May. Come on.
Okay, great coincidence. Some contention over if it falls in the window of coincidence.
That's why we're going to ask Dave up front. Dave, is it a June-July coincidence?
It was last week.
No,
Okay,
we have a recent coincidence. It's in the window.
Okay, talk us through it.
Okay, so my wife and I were on a cruise, Pacific Dawn, last week, going around Noumea, etc.
Oh, nice.
And it turns out her workmate, who she works in a big workplace, was in the cabin opposite us the whole 9 days, and we didn't see them.
Oh, that's a whopper.
And you didn't know, you guys didn't know that she was travelling.
Exactly, yeah, because she works in
It's
such a
better.
big workplace.
So you really have to have two things lining up here. The chances of someone from your workplace being on the Pacific Dawn cruise ship, very small, and then dodging someone. How many people on the cruise ship, Dave?
I reckon about 10,000.
10,000?
It's a pretty big.
Also, it's a floating suburb.
No wonder you didn't bump into her.
That
changed,
does
doesn't
change
it?
things. If
Yeah.
it was one of the mid-sized cruise ships, you would have had me. If it was like 10 people on the ship,
So
I'd be amazed that you dodged it for 9 days.
I
10,000.
unfortunately think both of these have been better than mine already. But
I don't know. I reckon Dave's maybe lost us with the
10,000.
10,000.
Jordan, come
How
on,
you
mate.
going?
Beat my coincidence.
Oh, you're gone. Basically, I was gone.
Hey, hang on, Jordan. Okay, before you get on your high horse,
Oh, here we go. Andy needs just to do the weigh-in first.
give us the window. When did this happen?
This happened at the start of July.
Okay.
Okay, it's definitely...
I moved back from England in the start of July. It happened about 3 weeks later.
Okay, great.
So it's literally happened like 2 weeks ago. I'm a street fundraiser at the minute, but I met some girl on the street. I stopped her. And literally, I was like, where are you from? Leeds. I was living in Leeds, actually. I was speaking to her, and I was like, oh, yeah, whereabouts? She said the same town as me. I was like, oh, bullshit, no way.
Yep.
Speaking to her, whatnot, kept going on. I was like, whereabouts? And she's like, oh, Pearson Terrace. I was like, oh, I lived in the exact same street. Turns out we lived in the exact same house, but she lived there 2 years before I did. It was weird as hell.
Yeah, he's got me.
That's
Yeah,
a
well
huge
done,
coincidence, Jordan.
Yeah.
And so fresh, too.
And it's
Such a recent one.
It's hurt. Well done, Jordan. And I'm reluctantly clapping along, but I think I've been KO'd by at least 2 of the 3 coincidences. Ham and
Thank
beat.
God.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Yeah, we get it. Humbling victory, please.
And look, apologies. I just saw that Laura was put up. An amazing coincidence, but it wasn't in the last 2 months, Laura, so we cannot legally take your call.
Yeah, exactly. We might play again. We'll see.
Goodbye again. And look, if Andy's feeling generous, the window might stretch out, it might shrink down.
Yeah.
Like an amazing coincidence could be. Remember yesterday we both wore the same coloured t-shirt. We both had maroon t-shirts on. That's not incredible. No. So we would have said you needed a coincidence to have happened this afternoon from about 2 p.m. to now. That would have been our small window.
We'll change the window depending on how good the coincidence is.
But guess what? Andy and I did a fingerprint test. We have the same fingerprint.
Yeah.
Oh, it's now a 10-year window. That's a huge coincidence. And this is exciting for me because it's the first time I've brought one of these to the table to take part in Beat That Coincidence.
Yes.
Do we even play the opener, Jack?
Sure.
Beat that coincidence.
Now we're into it. And so the rules of Beat That Coincidence are I present a coincidence. Then based on how much of a wonderful coincidence it is,
How good it is, yeah.
I will then choose the window of coincidence happenings that I will allow to beat that coincidence. So, for example, if you and I turn up but when we're both wearing blue hats, we'll go, geez, that's coincidence setting the world on fire, isn't it? We'll only accept coincidences from the last 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I go, oh, you'll never guess, I married Zoe, then I found out that not only that her great-grandpa married my great-grandpa, and they both lived in Egypt at the time, and they both, I don't know, had 3 nipples. You're like, geez, that's a lot of stuff stacking up.
That's almost a life. You'd almost just put that
You'd
out
almost
to
go, you know what? Any coincidence you know of can play against that.
Yeah. Tell sequences.
All right, I'll tell you my coincidence first, then
Then we'll discuss the...
we'll negotiate the window. So the other night, Sunday night, Sonny actually gashed his thumb open. My 1-year-old boy gashed his thumb open. We had to go to the emergency room. Right, so gathered him up, got him off to emergency, and they did they sort of patch you up. You get through sort of like the first round, and they go, yeah, you should be here. Go through to the next round. You're in the next sort of waiting bay. So you're sort of sitting there, and very quickly did we realise that Sonny by far was, not in the most trouble in the children's hospital. So you're sitting there going, these kids are, the doctors are amazing, nurses are amazing. We'll just sit quietly until it's our turn. And he's sort of coping pretty well, just soldiering on through. And side note, actually, this has got nothing to do with the coincidence, but I ran off and got Macca's for me and Zoe, because we'd been there for a few hours and I was getting towards dinner time. Then I went and got extra Macca's for the nurses, because I thought, like a bit of, you guys are working here. Yeah. What item would you have gone for as just a gift for the nurses? Remembering cheeseburgers could get cold,
Yeah.
And McFlurries will melt.
Gee, I would have just gone with cheeseburgers, to be honest.
Would you? Yeah, I went with apple pies, and no one went for one. I ended up with 4 apple pies. Anyway, I knew I did the wrong thing there, but I was panicked. It was my first time I'd seen my son bleed. Yeah. So we're sitting there. He's got his thumb wrapped up. Another kid comes in to the next bay. Okay, he's also won. He's also banged up his left thumb and has got it bandaged. And his name is Sonny as well. Same age, same injury, same name, same night.
Yeah.
I don't know if his dad also had 4 erroneous apple pies that no one would eat. What level of coincidence do we think that is?
I like it.
I reckon it's good enough to go last
2 months.
2 months.
I'm calling 2 months.
Yep. Can you beat my coincidence? Same age, same name, same injury, both in the emergency room at the same time.
2 months must be harsh. I reckon 3 months.
Really? Yeah. All right. Has a coincidence happened to you in the last 3 months you reckon is more coincidental than that?
Kyra steps up to the plate.
Challenger 1.
Hi. Well, about 2 months ago, I was on Facebook and just looking at Susan photos, and my partner said, I used to date that girl. I went to uni with her. Anyway, that was a bit of a coincidence, but it got weirder. So the next week, I messaged her and said, hey, how you going? And told her how we all knew each other. And she said, yeah, I've just got engaged. I said,
Oh, Kyra.
Hang on. Sorry, Kyra. Your phone's breaking up in doing what we suspect to be the best part of the coincidence. Yeah. So sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yep. They got engaged?
They got engaged on the same date as us.
Oh, gosh.
Just engaged. So then we started messaging each other again. We've set the same wedding date, and we're going on the same honeymoon, same flight, exactly the same place in America, and returning on the same flight from Hawaii.
Oh, my God. Okay. So this is how I understand it. So Kyra and her friend get engaged on the same day.
Yeah.
Going to get married on the same day.
Yeah.
Same honeymoon over and back.
And the same flights. She's beaten you.
She has beaten me.
Yeah, she's beaten you.
That's such a huge coincidence. That's really massive.
Yeah. So you're 1-0 down. Big J joins us. She did say at the start, though, about 2 months ago, so maybe I let you down by opening the window.
No, she would have been in. Big J, how you going?
G'day, boys. Finally, I'm on the show. Thank God for that.
Thank God, Big J. And
I've only been trying for about a year to get on your show.
Big J, welcome. It's nice to have you. And so you've had a coincidence in the last 2 months.
Yeah, brother. I went to one of those psychic expos, like the one that comes to Rocky annually.
Yep.
And Sheila walked up to me, put her hand on my chest. She goes, "Your heart is pure. You'll be rewarded with a big sum of big reward." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "No, yeah, whatever."
Not bad.
Turn up to the local, the local club one night for the members' draw. My name gets called out. No worries. This other bloke stands up. "Oh, I've won. I'll be like, "Yeah, sit down, mate. There's only one of me. Same name and surname as mine. Don't check the membership numbers. He won the money. I got squat."
Oh,
the name.
So you've got the same name as another guy from the club.
Yeah, I thought, hang on, God can't be that cruel. There's only one of me.
And you got told by a psychic, which is almost a guarantee from the universe this is going to happen.
After that, I'm just like, I just write them all off. It's like, yeah, well, you need to you need to zero your weapon a bit better there, bud.
You detected the wrong heart.
You projected the wrong heart. So she needs to reconfigure her weapon and re-zero it.
Yeah, that radar's slightly wonky.
Same name, same club. I reckon yours is better, Ham.
Yeah, it might. I mean, I love Jay's story and I love Jay as a person, but I think coincidentally, same injury might tip me over the edge for my story.
Absolutely.
So it's a 1-1.
Hamish Andy driving you home.
Beat that coincidence.
Hey, yes, time for Beat That Coincidence.
Okay, it's a complicated game, but I think it's worth the effort. If you've not heard it, this is how it happens. Ando obviously is flagged that he has a coincidence for today. He's going to give us that coincidence. Now, it's essentially, as the name suggests, you have to beat his coincidence with a coincidence of your own on 13-10-60. However, to stack the deck slightly in our favour, this is the bit where there's no two ways about it. We invented this rule to give us a better chance of winning Beat That Coincidence or to allow us to bring a crappier coincidence to the table. Here's the thing. Ando will discuss his coincidence and then he will choose a time frame,
whether it's the last week or the last month or last year, whether you're
back in time where your coincidence has to have happened to make it a bit easier for Andy to have the best coincidence on the show. But if you think it's an all-time coincidence, Andy can open up the time frame to the past 1 million years.
Here is how it goes, and it's not all time.
Right. So
it's under 1 million.
If you've got a coincidence that happened in the Bronze Age, we won't accept it. If you've got a coincidence that happened around the pyramids, we won't accept it.
No. But it's an eBay coincidence.
Okay. That's not a thing.
I was selling.
Said it like that's a well-known category of coincidence. Oh, he's got an eBay coincidence.
I was selling some curtains on eBay.
Oh my God! What do you get up to?
Largely,
track you. I'm going to get a PI onto you.
Largely because my brother and my brother-in-law said, "Oh, you won't be able to sell them," and I went, "I bet I can."
Fair enough.
So it was more because of the challenge, rather. Yeah, of course I wouldn't
Rather than
really care
you
about
just
it.
trying to make a quick buck out of some second-hand haberdashery, a curtains haberdashery. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway, Haim,
what type of curtains?
Here's the key.
Okay.
Here's the key. I do not, and I stress this, do not have any details that it's me on my eBay profile.
Okay.
It's a completely different name, completely different family member who runs it. Not even the same surname.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I sold them to a lady called Jenny for $50.
That's good, I guess.
Jenny contacted again, said family member, and said, can someone be at home to pick them up? She's going to send a guy called Peter around to grab them.
Okay.
And I said, this morning, 9:30, normally when I wake up, so I'll let the doorbell wake me up and I'll wander down and give him the curtains.
Get those curtains.
I've opened the door today, and there's a guy there called Peter, and he looks at me and goes, Andy? And
the one and only Andy Lee?
And I went, oh.
Here we go. Who do I make it out to? Here we go. All right, mate. I'll play you a quick song acoustically. I haven't gigged for a while. Sit down. This is sexual healing. I'll make you a Marlowe, and then you have to take the curtains.
Well, that's how I was feeling, minus actually playing the acoustic. I was like, all right, here we go. And then I said, the curtains are down here, mate. Yeah, my name's Andy. Peter, I understand. Yep. Curtains are down the hall. And we're walking down the hall, and he kind of stopped and started, and he was looking at me, and very strangely, more than you would for just the fact that you bump into you or I.
You're the guy off radio. Yep.
Yeah. And I said, Pete, you all right? And he went, you used to run around in my house and my property every week for probably 3 years from 1986 to 1989.
You ran around in his house. So is he the parent of a friend?
And I was like, really? He said, I am Trav Rigby's dad.
That was Pete Rigby.
And I went, wow.
No idea who Trav Rigby
one
is.
of my best friends.
Till I came along. Suck it, Trav.
But my best friends from pretty much grade 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Best friend hadn't seen him since primary school.
This is his dad. That's
That's
come
his
to
dad.
pick up the curtains.
That's the coincidence.
It's a good coincidence. It's a good coincidence. You've bumped into the dad of a primary school friend.
Through
Sheer luck.
Sheer luck.
eBay is open to everyone around the world, but obviously it's confined. Did you have pickup only on the curtains?
Yes.
That reduces the coincidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it reduces the amount of
kind
of narrows it down to the suburb.
The city,
and you're in the same city that you grew up in.
Yeah.
If you were living on the other side of the country and,
Better
both
coincidence.
families had moved,
Yep.
that would be a better coincidence.
So that's
Jack,
why...
I know you give me the wrap up. I've just got to explain coincidences to people. So what are you saying? What a time frame?
I was thinking 3 weeks.
So 13, 10, 60, Do you have a better coincidence than this one that Andy has presented that happened to you in the last 3 weeks?
Do you reckon I'm being too generous?
No, that's fair.
That's fair. Okay. 13, 10, 60 has to be in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Has to be. I will drill you.
How often do radio stations go, don't call up with a better story. We want to win.
This is never the case, is it?
Sally, can you beat that coincidence?
So 2 weeks ago, I was.
So it's in there. Are you just saying 2 weeks ago, or?
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Good.
I believe you, Sal.
I was staying in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand.
Oh, even cooler than selling curtains on eBay.
So it's a huge hotel. And my best friend from primary school, who I hadn't seen since year one, which is 10 years ago, was staying on the same floor as me.
And did you guys know you were both going on holidays together?
No.
So how did...
I bumped into her.
Oh, at the lift or something?
I didn't bump into her on the same floor. I bumped into her down at the casino area. Well, obviously I wasn't in the casino.
And how?
No, so this smashes Andy's coincidence. Does it? Smash.
No.
Other side of the world, not in same city.
Yeah, but they...
Yeah.
Same floor.
Holidays at the same time. And when was the last time you saw her, Sally?
I hadn't seen her for probably like 10 years.
See, mine's 30 years.
Yeah, but Ando, you're in the same city. You're going to bump into people in the same city. They're at the same floor in Las Vegas.
It's a draw, Sally.
You've smashed him, Sal. Well done. Great coincidence.
Tiffany, how long ago did your coincidence happen?
It actually happened last Friday.
Recent coincidence.
Well within
not
the range.
That fresh coincidence smell to it. Go, Tiff. What happened?
Yeah. Well, my stepfather's mother unfortunately passed away, and they had the funeral held out in Williamstown.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, my husband, who is a contractor, had to go in to do some building renovations, and he's asked my stepfather to go along. And lo and behold, it's at the same chapel where the funeral was held. So a bit creepy.
It is creepy, Tiff. Sorry, I forgot to write down notes there.
It's also where they buried his father as well.
Okay, but it seems like you guys live in an area... Sorry, again, I'm just pushing my own boat here, but... Seems like you guys live in an area.
We don't live anywhere near it.
Okay, that's slightly different.
That's pretty amazing. Of all the places you could do contracting work, Ando, it's the same chapel.
Yep.
It's on par with mine.
Oh, Tiff, I'm going to give it a draw. Only because, I struggled to connect the dots there. But that's on me. That's more Tiffany's got punished for having a magistrate who's a bit sloppy.
Okay, Lewis.
Yeah, okay, Lewis, you're the tiebreaker here. What's your coincidence, mate?
Anyway, so I was walking home with my mate once, and we were singing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yep.
And just as I got home, my dad opens the car, and Bohemian Rhapsody is playing on the radio as well.
Of all the songs.
Now, Lewis, you said you were walking home with your mate once.
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
I'm going to say it was pretty much exactly 3 weeks ago.
You've got it, Lewis. You've got the win. I think you just... Lewis is laughing because he knows he's lying.
He's lying his head off. Who says I was walking home once?
3 weeks ago. I was walking home once, exactly on the cusp of the legal cutoff of what you asked for. Loved it, Lewis.
Thank you, Lewis.
Call up any time and lie more.
Stick around, everyone. Peking duck. They're going to come in. What a cheat.
I love that you're still angry. No, you won, Lewis. Well done, 2-1. Listeners smashed you, Emma.
Very, very, very dirty way of it. Very funny.
Okay, beat that coincidence. If you've not heard this on the show before, welcome.
Yep.
And this is how it works. Traditionally, Ando, we will bring a coincidence to the show. Acknowledging that it might not be the best coincidence of all time, we usually place a time frame on the amount back in time your coincidence to beat our coincidence is allowed to come from. For instance, and if you walk in and you say to me, I was wearing a red hat today, and my brother walks down, he's got a red hat on. I look at you and I say, that coincidence stinks.
Yep.
So we have to make it tougher for our audience to beat the coincidence by going, okay, people need a coincidence to beat that, but it can only have happened in the last one day.
Yes.
But if you've got an amazing coincidence, it could be like you can
all
enter
time
from the last 6 months.
We had a little bit of restriction to give us the best chance to win.
We just want to make it a fair fight.
Yep.
So here's a special category. And I wonder if making it a special category is enough. Like we don't need to put a time frame on it.
I think it will be.
So we'll accept any coincidence from any period of time on this. Here's the thing. It's a real estate-based coincidence. Friend of mine. Oh, do you want to play the... Is that what you're excited to do?
Well,
Beat that coincidence. Real estate edition.
I mean, we go to all the effort. You're right. Play it.
well, yeah, it's not that I was excited about it. Just thought it was in the barrel.
Shut up.
It was in the barrel. That's why I think you may as well fire it.
Shoot it out.
Yeah.
Here's the story. A friend of mine was on Tinder. That's not unusual for him. He's clocked it.
Yep.
He's almost been through every single photo. But met a lady on Tinder. They went out on a date, had a great time. She said, "Why don't you come out to my house and we'll enjoy some television together?"
Yeah.
So they went back to watch TV. Walking up to the front of the house, he went, "I don't believe this. This is where I used to live. This is my old share house."
It's a good coincidence.
Incredible. And then when he went back to her Tinder profile, I was like, "Oh my God, should have picked up on it because the photo of her is in the front hallway." That's the old front hallway.
This is how it works now. 13, 10, 60. Can you beat that coincidence? But the coincidence must only exist with regards to real estate.
Has to have a link to real estate.
To a home or property. 13, 10, 60. It's a tough ask. We'll see if we can get anyone to beat it.
If we're really desperate, we'll just take any old coincidence. No, real estate preferred.
Emma is first up to the plate to try and beat that coincidence. Go for it, Em.
Hi, I'm not sure if I'm going to beat it, but I do have a coincidence.
What you got?
Okay, so friends of ours were trying to buy a house, but as real estate is, they were going through some issues because there was power lines in the photos and the bank didn't want to give them the money. Anyways, they really liked this house and they were pushing to go to a different bank. I knew about the situation, went to a completely unrelated party, and those people weren't even there. It was like some Tupperware party or something. And this lady was talking about how much trouble she was having selling her house. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Anyways, her house happened to be the one my friend was trying to buy.
I think it beats it.
It's good.
I think it beats
I was like, I had never met this lady before.
I mean,
and I was
you
just
can
like,
become the real estate agent here, Em, and just...
Well, I did turn around and be like, hold up, tell me where this is. And then I was like, no, you have to hold off. I know these people. They really want your house.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. That's
Nice
good.
one.
You've got the win, Em.
You've got the win there. Chelsea, can you beat that coincidence?
Well, boys, ahoy. To start off with.
Ahoy. Thank you, Chelsea.
My boyfriend, who I've been dating for about 1.5 years, nearly 2 years now, we have a child together. And when I was first meeting his mum, I was absolutely nervous, as most people are.
Yep.
And what happened was, as I went into the house and met her, she was the real estate agent that rented me my first share house.
Okay.
That is pretty good.
That's pretty good. I think that beats yours as well, Heb.
She definitely knew who I was, and she was immediately amazed that my boyfriend was my boyfriend.
Yeah,
she knows who you are. She also knows what you earn, and she's got 3 character references for you.
Thank you, Chelsea. Karen, can you beat that coincidence?
I hope so.
And we do too, Karen.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, my son lives in a share house. He was coming home from work in the city one night after having a few drinks and jumped in a taxi, and he gave the taxi driver the address, and then he started to try and give him some directions about how to get there. And the taxi driver said to him, "Don't worry about it, mate, I own that house."
Whoa.
Yeah, again, it's good. It's good, isn't it, Heb?
That might be the most unbelievable one.
Fantastic. Well done, Karen. Yep, she's happy with it. Yes.
Rightly so, a round of applause. How many taxi drivers are landlords? Well, I guess you can.
Charlotte.
Hello.
Do you want to even try and beat that last
That's pretty
coincidence?
amazing.
Look, I'll be completely honest. I didn't hear the last caller, but any money, I'll be able to beat it.
Oh, great. We love someone coming home strong. Charlotte, what do you got?
All right, so my dad was driving home one day, and he was going too fast, got pulled over by the cops, and the cops were like, oh, can I please see your license? He was speeding, and he was trying to go through it, sorry, sir, sorry about that, sir.
Yep.
Trying to suck up to the cops, get out of the fine. And the cop's like, nah, mate, you're going too fast, let me see your license. And so then he pulls out his license, and the cop goes, I grew up in your house. Oh, no worries, mate. You're sweet. He goes, have a great day, and says goodbye.
I think cop beats taxi driver. Yes! I think you've got it, Charlotte.
I've got it.
I reckon that's our best run of beat that coincidence we've ever had.
I grew up in that house. Is amazing.
Yeah, normally there's someone in there that just goes, I accidentally walked
I've
past
got a house. Yeah, my best friend, he's got a house, and also my
They're
other
both
friend's
green.
got one. No, that's amazing, Charlotte. Well done. I love that we yelled out, you've got it, Charlotte. And Charlotte went, I've got it. And then we went, Yeah, well, I mean,
you've won. You've got a round of applause sound effect.
There's no prize attached.
That's all right, everyone.
All right, Ando. I think I've got one of these.
Beat that coincidence.
Right.
Beat that coincidence. A segment on the show where if something amazingly coincidental happens to one of us, we pop it out there, and we have to play a certain category to see if the good people of the People Show listening can beat this coincidence.
Bring forth a better coincidence.
In the
exciting one.
In the given category.
In a given field, you're right.
Today's category, I believe, I'm going to call it birds with a chance of it being bird poo.
Okay.
Because it's
talk us through your coincidence.
So I'm driving along today, coming into the station. I'm going over the bridge. You know the bridge that we crossed to get to the station? I don't know why I'm adding that, but that's just to prove this happened.
Yeah. I think you're doing it because we both do an illegal turn sometimes on that bridge.
But we do that going home.
Yes.
So I'm coming along without a care in the world, except I did have a care, Ando. What's that itch in my nose? I need to sneeze. Sneezing while driving can be worrisome, but I just did the right thing. I looked ahead, braced myself, sneezed.
Eyes closed?
Eyes closed, as always, with a sneeze, because otherwise your eyeballs pop out.
Yep.
Then, as soon as I open my eyes, there's a giant bird poo on the window, okay? Now, I didn't know it was a bird poo. I thought I had sneezed onto the windscreen, and I panicked.
And
I went, oh my, what is that?
Whitey, blackies.
I was like, but it was one of the green ones.
Blast.
It was one of the green bird poos. So I just went, how have I done that? What's happening to me? It was that the timing here is the coincidence. The location of the bird poo on the windscreen and the timing, because as I closed my eyes, there was nothing on the windscreen. When I opened them up, there's about the surface area of a meat pie's worth of bird poo on the windscreen, which I thought was on the inside of the car. Yeah. I think I'm dying because I've got the plague, because have a look at this sneeze I've just done. Not till it starts dribbling does my brain start to go, wait a second. Could that be on the outside of the car? Turn the windscreen wipers on, and I'm just left to reel in the coincidence of going, what are the chances of a bird being able to make me think I had the plague with such a well-timed and placed poop?
Your windscreen wipers are definitely on the outside of your car.
Yes, they are.
Okay, good. So
worth checking.
It was definitely a bird poop on the outside. Instantaneous. I can't believe that during your eye closed moment.
It all happened.
Which is under a second, you'd think.
It all happened during the eyes closed. The chances of that are incredible. I mean, even just a bit beforehand. I mean, just sneaking a peek of it before my eyes closed.
And can I say, that part across the bridge, not a heavy bird population.
That's true. It's not like I was driving under a tree that's well known for its birds. Yeah. It's a bridge.
It's a bridge.
It's treeless. So that's a bird in flight, which adds another, I'm going to say, 5,000 to 1 on top of this coincidence.
13 10 60 is the number here. The category is birds.
Is it, though? Do you want birds for the coincidence, or do you want sneezes, or do you want bird poo? What do you want?
I'll take all three.
What a moment in radio. Where were you the day the Hamish Andy Show agreed to take all three? Birds, bird poo, and sneezes for Beat That Coincidence.
13 10 60. Tracy, what category of Beat That Coincidence, Tracy, are you filing for?
I reckon both the bird poop and the coincidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, great. What have you got, Trace?
My mum and dad, during their wedding, they were just about to get their photos taken, and my dad, for some unknown reason, put his hand on my mum's head right as the bird pooed on his hand.
Oh, my God. Boy. Divine intervention, bird poo protection.
Exactly.
And
to this day, he swears he doesn't know why he did it.
Hand of God. Absolute hand of God. Was it a religious wedding, Trace?
Oh, I wouldn't think so, no.
No? Well, that was God's way of saying to them, maybe you should have given me a bit of a chop out because I'm helping you, so would it have killed you to put it in the church?
Include me next time.
I'd just like to be included, guys, because you can see that I can do some great stuff.
Tracy, that's a win.
Incredible.
That's a win.
Yeah. I mean, Trace, in your memory of your parents then as you're growing up, would your dad often put his hand on your mum's head for no reason?
Just to try
not that I'm aware of, no.
So it's the only known time, and it stopped her from getting pooed on by a bird.
On a wedding day.
On a wedding day.
Tracy, thank you very much. That's a win.
That's
Emma,
huge.
Can you beat Hamish's coincidence, and what category of coincidence are you filing it in?
It's also bird poo.
I knew we'd get all bird poo. And I'm delighted about it, too.
Seems more fun, doesn't it? Emma,
it's a bit boring to ring up and just go, Sneeze. I went to school with a kid called Sneeze, and then I was on holiday, and...
saw Sneeze again.
ran into Sneeze, and he hadn't changed a bit. No, it's way better to do bird poo, Emma, as we just heard from that hypothetical story. And what's your coincidence?
Last summer, my friend and I were sitting in the McDonald's car park with our windows down in the car, using the spoon on the end of the straw to eat the last little bit of the frozen Coke.
McFlurry. Oh, right, yep.
And as I've gone to take the mouthful, it has fallen on my leg, so I went down to look to scoop it up, but it was actually a bird poo that had come in through the window.
Hang on.
So you thought you dropped frozen Coke in your leg, but it was
Yeah.
it was a bird poo.
Yep.
Not as good, Ham.
It was a seagull.
Oh, that doesn't add anything, Emma. That's a desperate attempt by you. If it was a dodo, that would be impressive. No, Em, I think that's a good story, but not a great coincidence.
It's not better than your one. So you've won one, Ham. You've lost one.
Okay.
Connie.
Thank you, though, Em.
For the people, you're going to try a coincidence in what category? I hope it's not sneeze up.
Okay, let me firstly say I'm first-time caller, and unfortunately I'm doing the same category as everyone else.
Yeah, great, Connie. Great.
That's
We've
good.
fuss-loving bird poop as our favourite category.
All right. Now, I am a mother of two. I have a boy and a girl.
Congrats.
And I'm at Luna Park.
Yep.
And because of medical reasons, I couldn't go on the ride. So I'm hanging out for them, waiting for them. And the seagulls, of course, being near the water, are flying past.
Sure.
One seagull decides to fly past. On my left arm, poos. And I've looked up and went, gee, thanks.
Yeah.
2 seconds later, another young lady, on her left arm, another seagull poo.
Okay, so it's seagulls.
End of coincidence, Connie?
End of coincidence.
Okay.
They've both got the same arm.
Yep.
Pooed on.
Same spot, Connie?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Arm. I mean...
Yeah, I know, but like near the elbow, bicep, tricep,
Yes,
forearm.
Fortunate for her, she was able to clean it up. I had to walk around the whole day with bird poo on my arm.
Right, you...
Because I couldn't, because it got it on my jumper.
Dragon tickets.
And it kind of moistened its way into the jumper and the fabric. Yes.
And I didn't have anything to clean it up because my children are past that age.
Understand, Connie.
Okay.
That's sad, but that doesn't add to the coincidence.
I'm going to say again.
Hey, look, it is a good...
It's a good one. It's
someone else got pooed on nearby.
Yeah.
But the fact you're near the water, there's a lot of the high volume of seagulls around there.
Yeah,
so everyone's probably getting pooed on.
Yeah, exactly. Probably several people that day.
Scattergun approach.
I'm going to say, Haim, you get the win today against the people for Beat That Coincidence.
I think I beat Emma and Connie, but Trace, his race caller, probably was the most amazing.
So she takes the win.
So Trace, I mean, you've got to be surprised if you're still there and I'll be hung up hours ago. But if there was a trophy, you'd certainly get it. And thanks to everyone for playing.
It's Hamish and Andy.
Beat that coincidence, Ando.
Beat that coincidence.
Okay, here's how this game works. Been a few weeks since we played it, actually,
Yeah,
so...
it's hard. There's not many coincidental things happening.
We can't walk around hoping for coincidences. They have to come to us. But one did, and I was blessed with a coincidence last night, not 24 hours ago. Driving 2 blocks from here, okay? Driving along the street. And this happened, I wish it had happened over the course of one normal block. But I'll be honest with you, because you have to be honest and beat that coincidence. Because I can't just say... I saw a guy that looked exactly like you. His name was Andy Lee. He had your birthday. Yeah. But his fingerprints were different. Yeah. So I was driving along here, not far from the studio, within the space of 2 city blocks. I'll step it out how it happened. I look over and I go, that's Guy Sebastian, right? to the left, on the street.
Was it?
No.
Okay.
At first I thought it was, and then I went, actually, that's not Guy Sebastian, but geez, that looks so much like Guy Sebastian. And that's good enough to make anyone's night, but it gets better. So keep driving. Then the next block, I see another guy that, if possible, looks even more like Guy Sebastian.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They were not together.
Yep.
They were not at a Guy Sebastian lookalike conference or anything like that.
Were they on their way to one? Were they walking in the same direction?
I checked the area. There was no records of a Guy Sebastian lookalike contest last night. That's the spooky part. Do you think that's incredible?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
Then I keep driving.
I'm glad you're not.
Okay. Then I keep driving and I see, no offense to Guy, but a lady that looks exactly like Afro era. Guy Sebastian.
Really?
On the same block as the second guy that looked like Guy Sebastian.
So in the space of 2 city blocks,
I've seen 3 Guy Sebastian
lookalikes.
lookalikes.
Mixed genders.
Who are not together.
Wow.
Are you impressed?
Yeah.
Should I tell him, Jack?
Yeah.
Tell him. Then I drive a little bit more, and there's another lady that looks exactly like Guy Sebastian, but with short hair this time. Now, they weren't. I know it sounds like I'm making it up. That's why it's so incredible. I pulled over and had to have a few deep breaths because they weren't together. They were all with different people and going about their day. Yeah. But within 2 city blocks, 4 people who look almost identical to Guy Sebastian.
Yes. So, what category is this?
I don't know.
So,
is it lookalikes? Is it what have you seen people?
What have you seen multiple of?
Clusters? I mean, is it person clusters?
No, it doesn't have to be person. I reckon just clusters.
Clusters.
Coincidental clusters.
There we go. Coincidental clusters. Can you beat 4 Guy Sebastian lookalikes unrelated in 2 city blocks?
If someone rang up and said, I saw Guy Sebastian, and then saw Shannon Knoll, it's a cluster of idol.
It is. It is. And from the same year, which gets you extra points.
I think we'd accept
the same vintage. Would we accept that as better than 4 lookalikes?
Not better, but we accept the story.
Oh, yeah, that's a cluster.
It's a cluster. Anyway, I'm just giving people an idea of what type of clusters.
Hang on, let's make sure we got this solid. 13, 10, 60. So what are we exactly asking for?
Coincidental clusters.
I mean,
good luck, everyone.
Best of luck to everyone.
Hamish Andy, we're driving you home in the middle of...
Beat that coincidence.
Yeah. One of our better ones.
I don't know if it's one of our better ones. The way this game works is if a coincidence happens to either of us, we put it out there, and then your chance is to beat it. But we normally put a caveat or a rule,
a category on it.
Yeah, what kind of coincidence can be.
So in the past, we've had airline seat coincidences. We've had real estate coincidences, and a couple of others. I can't remember the category, but today I didn't even know how to put this in a category, but I knew it was a coincidence. To give it to you in a nutshell, last night, driving along in the space of 2 city blocks, I saw 4 separate people who were not associated with each other who looked exactly like Guy Sebastian. Or easily, there'd be absolutely no hesitation if I said, what celebrity does this person look like? Yep. You'd immediately say Guy Sebastian. If I was just saying to you, Ando, if we were in the car together...
That's why I said this one was difficult because...
It's my interpretation of a Guy Sebastian look like, but they were spot on. They all could have done very well in a telemovie about Guy Sebastian. And I think carried off the role really well.
Frankie joins us.
So sorry, the category is clusters.
Coincidental clusters. Frankie's,
hi, boys.
Oh, Frankie's laughing at the...
Frankie, first of all, thank you so much for having a stab at the category.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I used to work at Chadstone Shopping Centre.
Yep.
And one day I see Sam Frost out the front of our store from The Bachelor.
Yep.
And I'm like, or Bachelorette. And I'm like, oh, wow. Literally within 2 weeks, about a week and a half later, who do we see wandering around aimlessly out the front?
I don't know.
But Sam Wood. The very same Sam from the previous Bachelor series.
Right.
So we saw 2 Sam Bachelorette people in 2 weeks.
2 in 2 weeks. I would have loved it on the same day, Frankie, but then again, it would have just stunk of a Channel 10 function being in the area.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good.
It's a cluster. And Ando, I mean, I'm surprised we got any calls for this.
If yours was 3,
yep,
he would have beaten you.
So I still win.
You still win.
I still beat. That is a good one, though, Frankie.
He went with actual people, which helps his cause.
I think he's done really well, especially because,
if Osher Gunsberg was lingering around, I would have.
But again, then I would have gone, well, they're just shooting something there.
It's true.
But
Josh,
I mean, Sam Frosto is Sydney and Samwood is Tasmania.
Yeah, right.
So I give him points for that, them being in the same place. So, Josh, what have you got?
You ready, fellas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not technically mine, but my father. He was in London in the Ted Baker store. You know Ted Baker, obviously, the designer.
Don't have any of his stuff, but I'm well aware of it.
Well, he never goes in his stores, according to the shop people there. The day my father was in the London store in Ted Baker, guess who? Ted Baker, in the store,
Ted Baker,
saying hi to my dad. 2 years later,
Oh, here we go.
He goes into the New York store. Guess who's in the store?
And remember, Ted Baker never goes into stores.
Ted Baker.
He never goes into his stores. You've got to remember this.
Yep.
Ted Baker was in his store in New York, but I saw him again.
That beats
No,
you.
it wasn't.
He's got it on 2 continents. Go, Josh.
Sydney store.
No.
Yes, I was with my dad.
Yep.
We go in. As we were going in, Ted Baker was leaving. He had just been in the store.
Coincidence, God knows. Josh, how much does your dad
Does that or does that not win?
How much does your dad love Ted
Ted
Baker? Jeez, would your dad ever go to Roger David or...
Josh, you've got him. You've beaten the coincidence.
It's amazing, Josh. Are you
I've
on...
done it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a Ted Baker cluster.
It's a Ted Baker hat trick, Josh. Mate, have you... does Ted Baker know you guys now? You'd be friends.
Oh, I guess.
It's
maybe we'll have
incredible.
to sort of agree a little, make a meet and greet.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Ted Baker.
just tell your dad to go into a store.
Next door he opened.
It's Josh, well done.
I mean, you do question the fact if he goes into his store. Are you sure you didn't hear? He's always
We've
in
been
his
told
store.
that the person, okay, so the one in London, she'd been working there for 4 years, she'd never seen him in her life.
Yep.
The one in New York, she'd been working there for a couple of years, never seen him in her life. And she said her manager had never seen him either.
Yep,
and then the one in Sydney, none of them had ever seen him.
I just love...
Your dad is a Baker magnet.
Your dad has also checked as to how often...
It's good that your dad's on holidays going, wow, I'm in New York, what do I do? I must go to the same store that we've got in Australia and buy some suits. Very
Well
good,
done,
Josh.
Josh.
That's huge. Unbelievable.
We've got one
I could have seen 10 Guy Sebastian lookalikes and it wouldn't beat that many Ted Baker sightings.
Time for...
Beat that coincidence.
This is exciting.
Yes.
Cackling Jack has brought to the show the great news. Guys, I've got to beat that coincidence.
The way this game works is, Jack today is going to tell of a coincidence in his life that I believe happened yesterday.
Yes.
That last night. And you've got to see whether you can beat that coincidence. We give you, though, a time frame, like it has to happen in the last week or the last month or the last 3 years, depending on how good the coincidence is.
That's how we weight it to make sure we don't just get tromped.
Yeah.
Because some people have classic coincidences up their sleeve. You know, they go...
Yeah, amazing ones, which we're not interested in.
I was on my way home from London. There was a stopover in Hong Kong. I sat down and next to me was my twin brother who I'd gone to London to find.
Yep. Yeah.
Not a great story, but, geez, you got to admire that coincidence. I almost had it. Before we hear yours, Jack, this doesn't count, but I didn't even have a beat. Well, I thought I saw Ted Cruz.
Yeah, and
then I realised I wouldn't have.
Your coincidence last time was seeing 5 Guy Sebastian lookalikes in a row.
I saw 3 Guy Sebastian lookalikes on the same block.
Which we still question how many you saw. I think you knew it was a bad coincidence and you kept adding Guy Sebastian lookalikes as you went.
I promise you, there were 3 Guy Sebastian exact lookalikes from different eras.
And on the day you told us it was 4.
You did.
Maybe it was 4, but it was however many I saw. Guys, I see stuff, I let it go. Like the Ted Cruz thing. Think I saw Ted Cruz, but I've let it go. Because he probably wasn't getting faux, because at that stage he was still in the Republic nomination race.
Putting American politicians aside, Jack, you are now under the hot lamp. Because, yes, when you start telling your coincidence, the tendency is to think halfway through, gee, this isn't as good as I hoped, and you'd lie. No. So don't lie.
And you guys will judge how good it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Last night, I went to my brother's house. He lives out in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
You would know, and people may be familiar with the sensation of driving under a street light just as it flicks off. And
Yes.
think that your car has turned the light off magically, but it's just a coincidence.
Or you think that the light's gone over your roof before it has. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. It's a great, I love it when it happens.
But it's just, like, that's obviously a coincidence that the bulb's gone out as you're driving under it. I had one last night where it happened as I was walking under it. So I walk under the light and it goes off. Okay, I can see you thinking that's the coincidence.
Well, it's actually worse than driving because you're moving slower, so you're giving yourself more time.
That's part one.
Like, if a snail rings up and goes, guys, it happened to me, we'd be like, well, mate, you're under there for 3.5 hours. But well done for course.
So I walked under, the light goes off, go into my brother's house, 45 minutes, an hour later, I come out, and as I'm walking under the light again...
A different light?
Same light, and it's your regular street light. It's not a sensor light or anything like that.
Run by David Blaine.
As I walk under the light, which is still off, it goes back on.
I like it.
That's good.
I like it.
Now, did you hang around to see if it was a flickrer?
I did. I watched for at least 30 seconds to make sure it wasn't just flicking on and off, and off, and it wasn't.
So it's reasonable to assume that you turned it off with your magnetic field and you turned it back on with your magnetic field.
I don't know what's happened, but that's a good coincidence.
It's just a dark feeling visiting your brother.
Yeah, and you enjoy it when you leave. You've turned it back on.
13-10-60.
Okay.
Can you beat that coincidence? I'm going to say in the last 3 weeks, a month? I
was going to say a month, Andrew. What a great coincidence.
Not great. In the last month. Has to have happened in the last month.
Yep.
Can you beat that coincidence?
All of April will give you.
Yep.
Did you have an amazing coincidence in April? You're against Jack. Good luck.
Haim, we're in the middle of...
Beat that coincidence.
This is where one of us, three, come to the show with a coincidence. And it's the job of the people out there to see if they can beat it. We give them a time frame, though, as to where their coincidence has happened to make it easier for us to win. And the coincidence at the moment has to have happened for you within the last month. Jack, please tell everybody the coincidence once again.
I walked under a regular street light, not a sensor light. As I walked under it, it flicked off, which sometimes happens. The bulb goes out or for whatever reason it flicks off.
Sure.
Half an hour later, I was walking back under the same street lamp. It was still off. As I walked underneath it, it flicked back on.
It's a great coincidence.
Why'd you only visit your brother for half an hour?
It was just a pop-in. It wasn't
what happened?
He's out in the suburbs. You've driven all the way
he's
out.
a fair way from your house. You live quite close to the city. What happened? What's the problem?
No, I
Was he not
went
home?
after dinner, so it was late. I can't just stay all night.
Hell, that's a lot. You drove longer than you stayed.
I say half an hour. It could be 45 minutes. It could be an hour.
Well, we're asking for specifics on the coincidence.
It's like I've committed a crime and you try to find my crime.
Well, lying about coincidences is a crime on this show, mate.
Did you drive for longer than you stayed?
No, the drive's only 20 minutes.
So 40 minutes. There and back. You drove
for longer. Harry, if you're listening, I don't know what happened between you two, but patch it up. We don't want to see you guys fight.
We just hope you work things out, guys. Ethan, on 13-10-60. Ethan, you hear the coincidence. You would like to submit one that you think can beat Jack's. When did it happen for you, Ethan?
It happened about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
You're in the window.
You're in the month window. What happened?
Well, I don't know if you want to call it a coincidence or straight up wizardry, but basically my brother and I were watching poker, and we're watching, and the guy, it's the last card that's about to come up. My brother goes, "Oh my God, I've had deja vu. I've seen this before. It's going to be an ace of spades," and bam, it was ace of spades.
Well,
now,
we do have to ask. I mean, was it an old match, like a classic match?
No. It was like one of those live ones that's on.
Yep.
And he said, "I swear I've seen this before. That guy's going to win with an ace of spades on the river."
Yep.
And it came up.
Well, okay, I mean, are we impressed by the seeing it before, or does that ruin the coincidence?
Yeah, well, he's had a vision, I think, is what he's saying. To me, though, Ham, it's a 1 in 52.
It's less, because there's a lot of cards out already, so it's probably like closer to a 1 in 40.
Okay. And Jack, I mean, you walk under 52 streetlights, one's not turning on.
No, they're certainly not turning back on, are they?
I think Jack's ahead of Ethan. Would you agree?
Sorry, Ethan. It seems like it's a great trick your brother's pulled, but it's not a better coincidence.
Each to their own, but you know.
You've taken it well.
Well done.
I hope we can still be better friends than Jack and his brother are.
Hannah, tell us the coincidence up against Jack. First of all, when did it happen?
The long weekend before last.
Okay, that's 2 weeks ago. You're in the bracket.
Yep. So we were going camping up the beach. It's a really long line to get up there.
Yep.
Drove onto the barge, realised that we had forgotten ice for the long weekend.
Oh, gosh.
Look beside us, and the ice truck is beside us. So we buy a bag straight away.
Fresh.
And have a nice camping weekend.
Yeah.
So the truck's on the barge as well. Now we're talking. Now we're talking coincidences.
Hannah, can you just describe to me, I'm excited about the moment, can you describe to me the elation as to when you noticed there's an ice truck, and who was it in the car that noticed it?
Well, it wasn't actually beside us. It was behind us, so it got on a few cars after us.
We'll still accept it.
But it was on the same barge.
Yep.
And when we went to pay, someone turned around and was like, "Oh my God, can you believe this?" Because we were going to have to turn around and wait again for hours and hours to get back on.
Half the weekend.
Yep. Is it a better
Yes,
coincidence?
so it was a very good coincidence.
It's a great coincidence. And just one more question about the driver, too. He's obviously not set up to retail single bags to passers-by. Just a cashy, or did he put it on the books?
$20, and he filled the eskies up for us.
He's done well.
He's done well.
Okay.
The question for me, Ham, is how often is that ice truck taking the barge trip?
I mean...
Is he taking it more often than a light comes out?
Well, I suppose the question is, where's the barge to? If it's to a remote area, like an island, the ice truck's going to be on the barge a lot.
Yeah.
But if he's driving an ice truck to a place that has ice, now I think it beats Jack's coincidence.
Hannah, you win.
Hannah,
Woo!
it's a really good coincidence.
I mean, you win nothing, Hannah.
Yay!
But just know, was the yay more of you've won nothing, more of a response than you've won? Hannah, just know that when you're at parties, that coincidence stands up as a good story.
Definitely.
Bust into like any group and go, don't worry about what you're talking about.
This is better.
Listen to this story. Because people will appreciate hearing that story.
Stick around, everybody.
Well done, guys.
Thank you, Hannah, and thank you, Jack. Good
Sorry
coincidence.
to all the coincidence we didn't get to.
We're running behind because...
Keep listening, because at any stage we could launch this game again. You never know when I'll see a Guy Sebastian look-alike.
Hamish Andy. You know, we are very careful when we crack this segment open. Because
it's not incredible drops, is it?
Sorry, we're very, very careful with that.
Do you have an incredible drop?
We don't have an incredible drop. There's another.
Do you know what? I'm glad we don't.
Yeah.
Because the fact that we don't have an incredible drop shows me we're treating that segment with respect. And we're not just opening it up for any old thing that fell off a bench.
Yeah, exactly.
We're only opening it up for truly incredible drops. Keep them coming in, HamishAndy.com.
We are still reeling from when that girl dropped her mobile phone off the sixth floor and it landed in the top pocket of a guy 3 balconies down.
Yeah, that was
his top breast pocket.
That's an incredible drop.
People haven't come back from that, and that's fair enough.
And that's okay.
But Haim, we don't crack this segment open lightly.
Beat that coincidence.
Good.
Yes.
I love Beat That Coincidence.
This is a game where if a coincidence happens to one of us, we tell it. Then it's a game, us versus the people.
Listeners then have to beat the coincidence.
Yes, but we give a time frame. Their coincidence might happen to have happened in the last week or the last few days. If our coincidence isn't that good, the better our coincidence, the more time we allow.
If our coincidence is an all-time coincidence, we'll allow people that this could have happened in their whole life. Like when I saw 3 Guy Sebastians.
No, that was one of the worst. I don't think we've done this segment.
I thought that was the high water
Jack,
mark.
have we done this segment since then? I think that almost buried the segment.
That put a real stink on it. Because there was a huge air of you adding a third Guy Sebastian when you knew it wasn't good enough.
I did not, sir. No, I saw 3 guys. I saw 3 guys to look like Guy Sebastian, and it was at different stages of his career. Okay. That's what was amazing. When like afro, medium hair, short hair,
3
ripped,
different looking guys. Anyway, we haven't done this segment
guy's
since
distinct
then.
sort of lip eye. Here's that almond eye.
I was away on Fridays, and had a overseas flight.
Yep.
And when I got on the plane, I got a text message from a friend of mine, Jess, and she said, "Guess what? You're sitting next to one of my friends, right?" Okay. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I looked across, and
But the first class pod is quite difficult to look.
Okay.
Like do you have to open a door?
Okay. Anyway, so I leant forward and did that a selfie shot of him, like a little subject, and I was like, "What, this guy?" And sent it.
So
back.
you took a photo of him?
Took a photo of him.
Okay.
Sent it back to her, and she's like, "Yeah, that's the one." So I turned around and introduced myself. It's a guy called Kyman.
Okay.
I said, "Hi, how you going?" And while I was chatting to him, he was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm best friends with Jess's boyfriend Pat."
Gotcha.
Right. His phone buzzed because it was before taking off, and she'd sent the selfie I'd taken of Kyman to Pat, who'd sent it on to Kyman. So then he's looking at this naughty, this kind of shifty, creepy picture that I'd taken, and I had to explain that to him. So anyway, that was the first coincidence. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I said, "What are you off to, mate?" He said, "I'm off to Denver."
Okay.
I said, "What are you doing there?"
said, I'm going to go see Rufus. I'm friends with one of the guys in the band.
Yep.
And I said, oh, well, Haim and I know Cam Truan, a guy that used to live with me. He's the sound guy for that band.
The Truth.
And he says, oh, yeah, I know Cam.
Okay.
I was like, wow, okay. So suddenly,
okay.
And Jess doesn't know Cam.
All right, so you're sitting next to a guy that you know through a mutual friend.
Yeah.
He's going to see a band and the guy used to be in your band.
Yes.
Okay.
So the band that we know through another mutual friend.
Yep.
Right. So then I'm like, wow, what's the coincidence? What a coincidence this is. Anyway, we're talking away. He's telling me about his new business he's running.
Yep.
And he said they're looking at office space. And my brother has just bought an office space that he's been renovating, as you know. And I said, oh, yeah, well, that's interesting because my brother has this new office space and he named the street. He goes, the number and the street. And I went, yeah. He goes, went through it this week.
Same building.
Same building. He goes, I went through
That's
it.
your best coincidence.
To rent it. He goes,
That's your best one.
Oh,
that's your best one because the others are similar groups.
Well,
similar
no.
circles of people.
Cam has no idea who Jess is.
I'm just judging the coincidence here. So
how's that? So
what you're
Jess,
actually relying on
he's
here...
best friends with a boyfriend of one of my good friends. He's going to see another one of my good friends, and he's gone through the building that my brother's renovating this week.
What you're relying... Each of those coincidences by themselves are just coincidences.
Yes.
But you've got a multi.
Yes, exactly. It's
You've
like
built a
a
multi.
Yes.
You've built a multi.
Yeah.
And I think the multi factor helps here. Multiplies your odds.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good coincidence.
So what are we giving them, like 2 months? I felt like...
2 months is rich.
You think it's...
I think it's a 1 monther.
Okay, 1 month. So 13, 10, 60.
Do you have I'd almost go to you though, do you have a multi?
Okay.
Do you have an amazing coincidence that's happened to you in the last month? We'd like it to be a multi.
We'd like it to be a stacked multi, but if it can't be, do you have a better coincidence in the last month?
Then
you have to verify it has to be the last 4 weeks.
It's 2 common friends, unbeknownst to each other, and a building that you're aware of.
Yeah.
13, 10, 60.
Hamish and Andy.
Multi it up.
This is the Hamish and Andy Show podcast.
We're in the middle of this.
Beat that coincidence.
Yes. Haim, it's a game where if a coincidence happens to one of us, we say it said coincidence, and then
people got to beat that coincidence.
Try to beat it. They've got a better one.
Here's yours, Ando. You were on a plane, got a message from a friend of yours. She said, hey, you're sitting next to a mate of mine. So boom, already this guy next to you on the plane, you got a mutual friend. You then start chatting to him. He's off to see a band. You know the guy in the band.
Yeah.
You got another mutual friend. Then he starts chatting some more and goes, hey, we're looking at some office spaces. Same building as your brother.
Yeah.
2 mutual friends plus 1 office space. It's a multi.
It is
It's a multi. For all those coincidences to happen together, we think that's fairly amazing. So we have asked on 13, 10, 60, have you got a coincidence?
Yes.
Ideally, it's a multi.
Yep.
Kate, yours is not a multi, but we've been told it's still worth it.
Kate, when did it happen?
It happened about 3 weeks ago at our old house.
That's within the range.
Lovely. What's the coincidence, Katie?
It's so funny.
It is fun. It is fun. I agree. It's not a multi.
I was getting bored and I was playing with this, like, my daughter's toy.
Yep.
And if you press the button really fast, it sort of went, "Ooh, la, 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 la." And I was cracking myself up how it sounded like a turkey. So I walked outside and I said, hey, babe. He's like, what? I said, I was just playing with this toy, and if you press it, it goes, "Ooh," and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, this bush turkey comes out, and I'm like, babe, there's a bush turkey.
Imagine you summoned a turkey.
Now, Katie, I'm going to ask some qualifying questions here.
What would be really amazing if you pressed the toy that sounded like a dinosaur and then out of the bushes?
No, but Katie, do you live in an area where bush turkeys are common?
No,
Okay.
no, we live in Golden Beach, which is just like a beach area. There's never seen a bush turkey since or before.
Okay, well, that's pretty amazing. So you're thinking turkey. Out comes a bush turkey. Not technically a turkey, but is known in parts as bush turkey.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, Katie.
Amy, you're going to say, is it better? I mean, you're the judge, obviously. Is it better than my coincidence? She beat the coincidence.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Katie just because
She loved
her so much. She was
Okay.
so into it.
Okay, that's disappointing.
That's good, Katie. That's an amazing
very
coincidence.
funny story. I love how she's reliving it. Chris, have you got a multi?
Yeah, I have.
Great,
So
Chris.
I got
Ahoy.
three uncles, and they're all George.
Mm-hmm.
They're all called George. My grandfather was George. My uncle George in Tasmania lived at Georgetown in Tasmania.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in Georges Road, Otford.
Oh.
I married my husband, who is Dennis George Crilly,
Okay.
and I work for St George Bank.
Oh, that's a multi.
Okay,
that's
certainly
a multi.
Because I was not interested early because a lot of...
I was.
Because...
It could be father-son George.
It could be father-son George, and like, it was George
but
running the family.
But that's three different families, obviously, because none of the Georges would be brothers.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare if you've called two of your kids Georges.
But also Emily could have, seeked out work at St George's to get the multi.
She might have known she was so close to a 5-leg multi. She's either got to go work for St George or at least for Kate and Wills.
Chris, well done. I think
that's
you
a
beat
win.
me. Yeah,
that's a good multi.
That's 2-0. Even though I felt Kate's was a little bit of a charity one. Emily,
ahoy!
Is it a multi?
Is it a multi, Emily?
It's not a multi, unfortunately, but it's pretty good.
You can still win big on a single story with huge odds.
So I was in labour and went into the waiting room, and there was a boy there with his girlfriend waiting for his sister to give birth, and we just said hi, just shared that room with them for a little while. Then a month later, I left my son at home to go to my sister-in-law's birthday dinner at a restaurant, and this boy comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, how's your baby?" I was like, "Excuse me?" And it was the same guy that was in the waiting room.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It's not better.
No.
The tough thing, Em, is
Emily conceded.
She conceded. The thing
She
is,
said
Em,
Nick Kyrgios and stop playing.
Emily, it's the second set. It's the second set. You got to keep trying. But the thing is, it's just a double bump into.
That's what it is. It's a double bump.
But the waiting room is terrific because that's a huge moment for you being in labour, and that's crazy that he's there as well. But it is just
you saw a guy.
It's two bump intos. It's two bump intos.
2-1, but the people still win, and well played. It's Hamish Andy. On this show, we occasionally have this segment.
Beat that coincidence.
If one of us has encountered a coincidence, we will put it out there, and we see if people can beat the coincidence. Depending on how good the coincidence is, this is the catch.
This is the tricky technical bit.
Yep. We will give you a time frame of which that coincidence in your life could happen. For instance, if it's not a very good one, we'll go last week.
Yeah, that has to have happened in the last, sometimes 24 hours.
I'll tell you
Someone said, "Oh, have you got any change?" Looked in my pocket, had one 50-cent piece. And then later on, same thing happened. That's not a very good coincidence.
No.
You'd have to beat that within the last hour. But my Guy Sebastian one was a monster.
No, okay, let's not go back into that because we're running the whole.
All looked like Guy Sebastian. Not together.
My sister is an author, right?
Yep.
And she's got a new series of books that are called Starring Olive Black.
Gotcha.
And it's Book Week this week. So happy Book Week, everybody.
Happy Book Week, everyone.
And
there's a lot of kids walking around as pirates and stuff.
Yes,
because you got to dress up.
My sister and authors do get invited out to different schools.
Yep.
And to kick it off with Book Week, she went out to a certain school, and upon arrival, one of the teachers went, "Look, I'm really excited that you're here because we know that you wrote the books after one of our students." Now, my sister's book...
copyright claim.
Here we go. So my sister's books are around a young actress called Olive Black, who's 10 years old, right? There's a girl who's an actress at this school called Olive Black. And for the whole time, this girl and the whole school thought that Al was inspired by her.
Who was telling that story? The kid?
The kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
And Al said, "I'm sorry."
But no teachers came in and went, "You're being crazy."
No, because...
You're not allowed to say that.
No, because it also kind of made
lined
sense.
up.
Because it lines up with a few other things in the book that line up with her life. That's the coincidence. The first school my sister goes to...
I'd need to know what the things are.
I think
if we're going for a coincidence, I'd need to know what the events that line up are.
I think the only one I can remember, I think the character's director's a mum, and her director's a mum. She's an actress. Her name's Olive Black. The character's name's Olive Black, and they're both 10 years old.
So, is this the same coincidence though as a kid being called Harry Potter? And
if the kid was a wizard.
Yeah, well, if he just had glasses. But I mean, not exactly the same. I mean, if he had round glasses and looked like Daniel Radcliffe.
Well, yeah.
Is that the zone we're looking for here?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say, I think, yeah.
I think I mean, people are called character names.
Yes.
I mean, we know Michael Jackson.
But he's not the greatest pop singer of all time.
But he's good in his field.
I know.
He's a very good real estate agent. I know 2 Michael Jacksons that are good in their field.
Okay.
Is Jacko not a real estate agent? I know another one's in security.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Anyway, what are you thinking?
I could only give it a month.
A month?
Yeah.
So if you've had a coincidence in the last month that you think beats that, 13, 10, 6.
The age thing got me. If it was just same names, we just wouldn't have
same
moved
name,
the needle.
same profession, same age.
Yeah. But the kid's not a professional actor.
Yes, she's done professional jobs.
Well, is she still at school or is she getting tutored on set? Because that's what the professionals do.
Gosh. 13, 10, 60. Beat that coincidence. Hamish has deemed it 1 month.
This is the Hamish and Andy Show podcast.
In the middle of...
Beat that coincidence.
Okay, I had a name-based coincidence, profession and age, where my sister has written a children's book. It's called Starring Olive Black. It surrounds a young actress, 10 years old. And then she went to the school for the first day of book week.
Met a girl called Olive Black who is 10 and has done some acting, not enough acting to take her out of school and have to learn on set.
No.
Which is what all the Harry Potter kids had to do.
Yes.
That's that level. Okay. And that is a good coincidence. Does it blow our minds?
Well,
we'll find out.
I'll agree.
Can it be beaten?
It doesn't blow.
Can it be beaten?
In the last month, can it be beaten?
Tom, can you beat that coincidence?
Yes, I certainly can. Now,
Good boy.
I've actually got 2. The short one is Andy and I celebrate our birthdays on the same day. So happy birthday, Andy.
Tom, that's no coincidence.
Well, it is. It's a 1 in 365 shot.
Yeah.
Well, that's a coincidence.
Well, it doesn't blow anyone's mind, though, does it?
Well, I mean, it's Tom. Thank you for joining the birthday parade. Andy is playing it down, but in here he's pumping his fist because he loves birthdays. What's the other coincidence?
I thought it might be. So the other coincidence is I went on Deal or No Deal, and I won a lot of money and went travelling. And my cousin had to get out of work so she could watch the episode. And it turns out when I went travelling, I met the girl who covered my cousin's shift so my cousin could watch the episode. And this was over in Bolivia.
Pretty good, but watching the episode doesn't have any relevance to winning the episode, does it?
No, but she covered my cousin's shift. So this is the girl that covered my cousin's shift so my cousin could watch the episode.
We got it. Yeah. We're just wondering...
It's not better than mine. It's not better than mine.
It's an amazing thing. You met a girl that knows your cousin.
That's who's helped out at work from time to time.
At work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a win.
It's not a win. I'm still in the lead.
Okay. It's good, Tom. It's a great story, but you met a girl that knows a cousin.
David, can you beat my coincidence?
I think I can. Happy birthday, Hamish. I know that might upset the birthday ogre, Andy, but that's just the way I roll.
Andy just threw a chair at me. Thank you, David. It's nice to get a little bit of attention on the show for once. Dave, can you beat the coincidence?
Yes, I've shared a tax file number with the man who's born on the same day, same month, same year, has the same first name, middle name, and the last name.
Is it you?
No, it's not. He lives in Dubbo, and I live on the Central Coast.
But how do you share a tax file number? You can't have it.
What happened was, back in the mid-'80s, before massive internet and so forth, is we obviously left work at the same time and put our details into the ATO around the same time. And we came back, because my accountant had told me, you've already put your tax return in. And I said, no, I haven't. And he said, and it was lodged at Gulgong, out near Dubbo.
Yep.
And we have shared a tax file number on and off since then.
So you guys applied for a tax file number at the same time? And
pretty much. We must have left year 10 around the same time.
and so the tax office was like, this is the next one in the barrel, and they've just fired them out at the same time.
Exactly right, because
this is huge.
That's a coincidence.
That is mind-blowing.
I'd always wanted to meet, because then what happened about 20 years later, I went back to do another tax return.
So the same middle name as well, David?
Same middle name. I don't want to give the name because I might get audited.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
then in which case, it's the other guy. It's the other guy.
I rang the tax department and I had the 2 tax file numbers, or the tax file number, and she said, yes, that you're David something Wade.
Yep.
And I went, yes. And she said, you live in Gulgong. And I went, no, I live in Camaray. And they had the same people lodged with 2 different addresses.
Crazy.
And same birthday?
Did they play the Beat That Coincidence music?
Same same birth.
That's
like,
huge.
Yeah, amazing.
The day, month.
Even one of them, even just a David would have been incredible. It's a 9-digit number.
Hasn't happened in the last month, though, has it?
It did happen in the 80s. So unfortunately, it does fall outside the bounds that I set out. It's the world's greatest coincidence. Possibly there hasn't been any other coincidences that will beat that. But it can only be entered under a classic coincidence week. Dave, call back and enter. Then we should have told you at the start, but it was bloody good, and we wanted to hear how it worked.
Matthew on 13.
So Andy's still ahead on a technicality.
In the lead.
Matty, ahoy!
Ahoy, boys!
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday, Hamish, again.
No need.
you so much.
And why are we doing this? Can we please get back to?
Thank you. Nice to be acknowledged. It always falls outside ratings.
Yeah, well, my brother, he used to live next to a person like the street over, named just over the road, who was named Stephen Adam, and then his last name. He had the exact same name, and then he kept on getting his mail all the time. And he's going, what's this mail that I keep on getting? Because it's got nothing to do with me. And then we found out a little bit later on as well that he had a son that also had my name as well, the exact same name, and then a daughter who had my cousin's name.
I'm going to give it to you, Matt. Love it. That's a lot of names.
Yeah, there's names galore, and we just kept on finding out more and more and more. We're like, wow, this is just getting ridiculous now.
A lot of names. Andy's still only had one name the same. Yours had about 4. That was good, Matt.
Good victory, Matt. Good victory.
Sorry, I know.
I feel like the want to move on has given Matt.
Protest if you want, but you've only got 2 seconds.